Hey folks, it's Patriot Nurse. Thank you for joining me today. In this video, I want to discuss with you a very important issue, and that is the fight that we're in against artificial intelligence to maintain our freedom of speech. So I am coming to you as a YouTube content creator, and I want you to understand, as someone who is watching these videos, what we are up against as content creators, particularly as content creators who are conservative and freedom-minded and independent. As the years have gone by, social media platforms have become more and more restrictive. And we see this particularly within the past 2 years. We have seen a veil being placed over the eyes of people who use social media. And we've seen a gag be placed upon the mouths of freedom-minded and liberty-minded content creators to keep them from saying unpopular truths, to keep them from saying and spreading the truth. And even if a person didn't believe that their narrative was true, there has been a concerted effort on the part of all major social media platforms to silence anyone who would advocate for liberty and freedom, particularly as regards body autonomy. I myself am limited right now in how I can come to you, but I feel that this is very important for you to understand as someone who watches YouTube videos, the battle that we are in as content creators, what we're up against, and why certain things are changing, and what you can do about this as a person who consumes content. Make no mistake about it. When you watch a video, you are a consumer. You are consuming something. Whether or not you pay for it's another story, but you're consuming something. So you're half of this equation, and I want you to understand what a critical role it is that you play, and also that we're all playing in the days to come. So I received a strike, like a few weeks ago, several weeks ago, and I cannot tell you everything I want to tell you. I want you to understand this. I have to be very veiled in my speech because of this platform and because of the exact reasons that I'm going to delve into with you here in just a minute. I received a strike and content pulled from my channel, content that was 10 years old, content that had been recategorized under YouTube's new community guideline policy as being in violation of medical misinformation. You can guess what that is and which subject matter it pertains to. And so as I was reviewing things, and as I've been reviewing things over the past few days and weeks, and talking to other content creators, a troubling pattern has emerged. And I feel like you are owed this as someone who watches my videos. The artificial intelligence that governs all of the algorithms associated with YouTube and with which videos you see, which videos get promoted to you, which videos you see on the landing page when you sign in on the desktop version of YouTube or on your phone, everything about that is governed by artificial intelligence. And I want you to understand this. How this has played into freedom of expression, I think we really need to delve into, because it's very Matrix-like, it's very Terminator-like, it's very Borg-like. So we've pulled all of our relevant sci-fi analogies in for this one. YouTube itself and social media platforms are indeed a private company, but they are private companies and private entities. However, they have enjoyed the sheltering and the protection of the United States federal government on pretty much every level. Sheltering and protection insofar as they are considered a platform instead of a publisher. They have been acting with both capacities. So they've been getting the best of both worlds. They can actively suppress content that is not freedom-minded while getting a lot of the shielding and perks associated with being effectively a utility. There is movement to try and fix this from a regulatory standpoint, which in and of itself ushers in a whole nother series of contingencies. But I think that we owe it to ourselves to take a step back and look at what we've seen in the past year, and certainly the past 2 years, and what this portends for the future. True, these are private companies that are governing what information is shared, which thoughts are deemed acceptable, which thoughts are allowed to be spread. We have now, for the most part, total private ownership of the ability to express human thought in this day and age and in this time. And so because of that, Everything that you see on YouTube is because they want you to see it, or they're permitting you to see it, or they have deemed it in their best financial interest to allow you to see it. The algorithm, which you've heard about, which governs what you see, obviously, and which videos show up in your queue, which videos get recommended to you. Everything about that algorithm is dependent upon machine learning, artificial intelligence. How this has played into freedom over the past year for me personally, and for other people who create content advocating for body autonomy, advocating for personal freedoms, advocating for informed consent. This content has been deemed other than and non-useful and non-politically expedient, and indeed detrimental to the political expediency adopted and the political viewpoint adopted by these large companies. When I had content pulled, like 6 weeks ago, and I had strikes issued for my content, the content that was pulled was months old, and actually one video was over a decade old that was pulled. So this is what happens, okay? YouTube constantly cycles through and issues new guidelines for people like me who are content creators. And what these new guidelines are is an ever-restrictive net that has been drawn over our mouths of what we are permitted to say on their platform. And before we go off saying, oh, go to a different platform, that is not practical. That's not practical because the vast majority of people who are watching videos are watching them on YouTube. So we'll talk about that here in a minute, but that is not a fix-all that people think it is. It is not a fix-all to say, oh, go to this platform, this platform. No, not practical from a content creator's standpoint. I'll explain why later, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So when YouTube issues these ever-expanding nets of what is deemed not acceptable and boot-worthy, they are doing this based on what the political bent is at the time, and they are enforcing this with their machine learning and with artificial intelligence. So over the past 2 years, people like me who are advocating for health freedoms, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I can't say what I want to say. We've had to use code words to reference something that is a hot button issue. The artificial intelligence started learning what the key word was at first. And then when it started demonetizing content creators for talking about this unpopular health intervention that now has been deemed obsolete by new variants of things, each new keyword that we would come up with as content creators or that we would try and adopt, the machine learned it. Within a week to 2 weeks, it started learning that people who watch my stuff, who watch other freedom-minded channels, who watch other contrarian viewpoints, who watch other body autonomy promoting videos, it started recognizing the corollaries between the groups of people and the aggregates who watch them and between these content creators and topics covered in their videos and which words were being used. The machine was learning. And so when my video was pulled and the strike was issued about 6 weeks ago, it was done based on updated algorithm, updated artificial intelligence grouping and labeling of my videos and of the transcript. What you have to understand, every video that I make, the machine goes through and it listens and analyzes my voice. It analyzes what I say. It analyzes the content and the subject matters that I bring forth to you on these videos. And it's constantly searching for corollaries. It's constantly searching, did Patriot Nurse say what she's supposed to say? Did she trigger somebody? Did she bring something up? The machine is what we are fighting. The algorithm is what we are fighting. But the algorithm is also what we use to both fight against and fight with. It's bizarre. In one way, when you comment, when you engage, the goal of YouTube and the goal of Google is to monetize that because it's a private company. That's what they do. And there's nothing inherently wrong with profit. Profit is not evil. Abusing people and unethical behavior to accomplish profit, that's not right. But profit in itself is not wrong. However, what's happening is that when you don't interact with my videos, when you don't thumbs up the videos, when you don't watch the videos, you don't see them. If you do thumbs up, interact, comment, you see more of them because it figures out, oh, okay, that's cool. But the issue is that we're pulling more bits of data together and accelerating faster and faster and faster. And so the machine is learning. every so often, the machine learns, the algorithm learns what these new code words are for people who are trying to discuss sensitive subject matters and try and skirt around the radar. It's learning. And because quantum computing is right around the corner, and these machines that are just going so ridiculously fast, we're going to be in a fight with the social media version of the Terminator in order to express ourselves. And I want you to understand this. So why am I bringing this subject matter up right now? And why isn't, let me answer this question first. Look, why isn't using an alternative platform like X, Y, or Z the answer? I'll tell you why. They don't have the resources to compete with Google. They don't have the resources to compete with, with the real entities giving power to social media. So on one hand, it is effective in certain small enclaves and groups of people, subsets of people, to share on alternative platforms. But they have consolidated power so effectively, and they have the federal government in their pocket and the full might of the United States intelligence infrastructure behind them, that it is impossible with our current configuration for there to be any true legitimate competition that is capable of giving them a weight-matched fight. This is what we're up against. The way that you practically fight this, as someone who watches not just my videos, but other people's videos, other content creators' videos who are freedom and liberty minded, the way that you support the content is by going to, for instance, Patreon or some of the alternative platforms, to chip in $1, to chip in, it costs. And I'm explaining this. I'd like for you, obviously, to support me on Patreon, but that's not the point of this video. I want you to fully understand where we're at. The good old days of the internet where you could go and passively absorb quality content, those are, I don't know how much longer that's going to be feasible, particularly because governments now are starting to run out of political clout and steam that they can abuse with the current health situations. They're starting to run out of power. And so as this is happening, these social media entities are ratcheting up their machine learning to be better at enforcement and catching people who don't toe the line. So if you want to have access to quality, contrarian, alternative viewpoints, the next best thing is to go and support that content creator in a meaningful way. I think everybody recognizes that TV, like cable TV, is pretty much useless at this point, maybe with a few exceptions. But that what cable TV was, and what the entertainment and infotainment, edutainment was, 15, 20 years ago, that's going to probably go the way of the dodo, and they know it. So YouTube is trying to fill that market, which is why they're promoting things like kitten videos, makeup videos, substanceless videos. They're promoting that because they're trying to fill that void, and they're trying to silence anyone who basically wants to use this platform for its original intended purpose. So they're transitioning just like everything else is transitioning. We are at a point of rapid turnover, and the closing of one chapter of thought into another. So in the days to come, this is what we're up against. I want you to understand this. This isn't like, the world's smallest violin. I am telling you the hopscotch that I have to play as a content creator in order to come to you free on YouTube. And so I will not be able to on YouTube in the days to come. I'm not going to be able, I just can't talk with you on YouTube about the things that, frankly, I really want to. I can give you content that is valuable, obviously, and give you comments on certain things. But what I really think, I'm not going to be able to do that here. So I'm in the process of, with my Patreon, I'm in the process of putting more content that would be unfit for this platform there. So this is going to be a work in progress. I just want you to understand that. But I'm just speaking like straight to y'all. in this week that a lot of people are going to be traveling. Maybe you're listening to this in the car, going to your families or whatever, or you're just watching this on your day off. I just want you to understand really what I'm having to do to come to you. And we all have our role in this world. And my request of God has been from the beginning that I only wanted to do this as long as he wanted me to, and I don't want to do it a day longer, because this is his show. This is his. And I am fully cognizant of the fact that he's given this to me to be able to reach people and help people. Because it could have been anybody that he gave this to, but he gave it to me. And so I've been trying to be a good steward of it. So I'm just being honest and open and transparent with you about this is what I'm going to have to do in the days moving forward. And since I was issued that strike a few weeks ago, and since they silenced me for that time, they have suppressed my stuff like into the floor. So my channel growth has been almost nothing for a month because of this. So it is retaliatory. It is part of the way that they do things. It is part of the machine. We are fighting the Borg, the Terminator, all in one. And it is how it is. So until they are gutted of their power and their ability to operate as both publisher and platform, we're going to have to continue to fight in their grid if we want to be able to share thoughts and ideas that are a click away. And that's really what I wanted to share with y'all. Just kind of give you an update and let you know this is where I'm at. So I hope it was helpful for y'all. If you did enjoy the video, I hope you'll subscribe to me, and definitely stay with me on Patreon and Subscribestar. If you don't like Patreon, then Subscribestar is an option, because I also will post there. Those are my two content creator support platforms that I use. You can also support me with cryptocurrency and PayPal. That's another one. I would recommend also that you get trained. So I think my Knoxville class, I think only have maybe like 1-2 spots left. That one's almost sold out. I'm going to be in, Lord willing, Atlanta in February, teaching the 4 days class, Columbus, Ohio, Jacksonville, Florida, Kalispell, Montana, and Charlotte, North Carolina next year. And I believe I will be adding as well. Actually, yes, I will be adding in July another Dallas class as well, Dallas-Fort Worth area. So that's the plan for this coming year. Things are probably going to be ratcheting up, friends, and I just want to thank you. Thank you for being here with me. I'm very, very grateful at the end of 2021. Good gracious, what a year it's been. It's been full of challenges for a lot of people, but I'm deeply humbled and grateful. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for being here with me through this, and thank you for connecting with little old girl from East Tennessee on the other side of the screen. Thank you for tuning in, and I'm so genuinely grateful, because I don't take it for granted. I don't take the support, y'all's love and support, for granted. I do not take it for granted at all. And I view it as that I have to be a custodian of what God has given me. And I'm not a perfect person, but I want to try and do better each day than what I did the day before. And I'm hopeful that in the next year that my prayer is just to be a servant. You know, like I said, I'm not perfect. And we each have areas of growth in our lives. It's just, are we going to be wanting to do better each day? So that's my prayer for myself and my gratitude for 2021. And I hope that each and every one of you are very, very blessed in this time and in this season with your family. And I hope you have a great weekend. For now, it's Patriot Nurse signing off, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.